well, first of all, I have to introduce myself. I am Tom Reed. I'm the chair of the Airport Advisory Committee. And we got to do a roll call to confirm committee members in attendance. When I call your name, please unmute yourself and say present. So Gary List.
Present. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Chuck McGill.
Present.
Thank you. Ron Lee.
Present.
Thank you. Rich Martindale.
Also here.
Thank you. And Dave Gordon.
Present.
Thank you. And let the record show that Jackie Ander, Mike Ogilvy, Buzz Gibbs, Lisa Golden, James Aldrich, and Tom Ricotta were absent. We also have the NYF Air Traffic Control Tower representative, Joel, Ryan, and Eric, the tower supervisor. Thank you for your attendance. We have Jorge Rubio, the deputy airport director, and his staff. And Jorge, why don't you give us a rundown on the logistics for the meeting so we're legal.
Sure. Good afternoon, members of the committee. Please take note that the buttons on your camera, on your screen, some of them are for the camera. There's one for you to type. That's the chat button. And you can mute and unmute yourself. Please remember to stay muted when you're not talking and to unmute yourself when you speak. You will also see the chat window. Please keep your chat window open at all times, as you will be using the chat to signal when you'd like to speak. When wanting to make a motion, second a motion, or participate in discussion, please type again, speak in the chat box, and Chair Reed will call on you in the order entered. Please refrain from using the meeting chat for anything other than signaling that you'd like to speak in order to comply with the Brown Act.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So after the call to order, when we are live, and we always have the Pledge of Allegiance. And call me old fashioned, but I just think it'd be nice if we did that. So I'm going to hold up a flag and we're going to say Pledge of Allegiance. There it is. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
United
Of
States
the United States
of
of
America,
America,
America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
One nation.
under God, indivisible,
Liberty and
liberty, justice for all.
For all.
There we go. Thank you very much for indulging me in that. We are on to the non-agenda public comment items. The public was invited to submit public comment on agenda and non-agenda items via a web form accessible through the agenda and the commissioner's website. Staff will read aloud any public comments submitted per the city public comment protocol. Do we have any public comment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There was no public comment submitted for this meeting.
Thank you. So now we move to item number 4, the approval of the minutes for November 10th, 2020. And the October 13, 2020 meeting was canceled, so no meeting minutes exist for that one. We will see. Let's see. Did everybody had a chance to read the minutes for November? If there's no objections, I'd like to have somebody issue a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Thank you. That was Dave Gordon for the record. Does somebody second that motion?
Chuck McGill seconds.
Thank you, Chuck. Chuck will second the motion. So I need to do a roll call now for the vote. And I'm going to call your name and you can say yay or nay. So starting with Gary List.
Yay.
Chuck McGill.
Yay.
Ron Lee.
Yay.
Rich Martindale.
Yay.
Dave Gordon.
Yay.
And I am a yay. So we have unanimous approval to pass that motion. And I'd like to thank Millie Moore for doing such a great job on the minutes.
You got Buzz Gibb online also.
Okay.
I'll say yes to.
Oh, hey, Buzz. How are you? So let the record show Buzz Gibbs is present. And did you have a yay or nay vote on the approval of the minutes?
That was a yay.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to unfinished business. Is there any public comment for unfinished business?
There is no public comment for unfinished business, but what I wanted to do is there's somebody else joining the call. So I would like to accept. There's no ID, so I will ask who the person is. So please give us a minute. Hello. Somebody just joined with a Galaxy phone.
Galaxy Tab S4.
Wait, I sent another link to Lisa. She may be trying to sign on.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay. And the screen got shared with somebody's desktop.
No, so Lisa is signing on right now, and I think Mr. Gibbs, and if you can stop sharing the screen, I think it's you who is sharing right now.
Buzz is sharing his screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Buzz Gibbs is sharing his screen for some reason.
Okay. I think I can.
There we go. Okay. So on to agenda item number 6, which is new business. A copy of the current approved AAC bylaws are in the meeting. Were there any? Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I think we're still in unfinished business, so I just wanted to provide clarification.
Oh, okay.
If that's okay with you.
Yes, please.
Thank you. So at the last AAC meeting that we had in November, there were questions about what is it that the annual contracted services were. When we're talking to our staff, basically the description that had been used for a long time was annual contracted services, which included mowing, sweeping, supplies, etc. But at the last meeting, we mentioned that we will go back, look at it a little bit more, and come back to this body and explain what exactly it is that we were talking about. So the way that most entities use it, used to call this is operational expenses. So we have salaries and benefits, services and supplies, and other expenses, what I call the etc. And that's for both Brownfield and Montgomery Gibbs, and that's about $5.5 million. So I also took the liberty to go one step further, and I wanted to put it into a chart so that you can see how this is broken down. Operational expenses for an airport typically are between 50 and 55% for salaries and benefits, and that is because airports, for the most part, are service organizations. The staff that we have here with the city of San Diego is actually a little smaller than some of the airports that at least I'm used to working with. For example, in Ventura County, the administration that I came with, this was at about 54%. We had about 34 staff members. With the city of San Diego, when we're fully staffed, we're about 22, 23, depending on what it is that we're doing. Services and supplies for the city of San Diego airports is about 54%, and other expenses about 1%. If you look at the breakdown, this number, we took it from the adopted budget that went through this last year. So personnel and personnel, basically salary, that was 1.5. Fringe, which is benefits, 900. Supplies, contracts, information technology, that's what you see here. And other expenses is about $28,000. So that's a clarification that I wanted to make. If there's any questions, I'm open to taking them.
Thank you very much for clarifying. If you have any questions, you can type it into the chat or just speak up.
What's the fringe rate?
That's the benefits that employees get, health.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just, makes sense.
Fringe benefits. All right. Mr. Rubio, are we finished with unfinished business?
We are finished. Thank you.
Okay, so we are moving on to item number 6, new business. And Airports Advisory Committee review of the AAC bylaws. A copy of the current approved AAC bylaws are in the meeting packet. Are there any public comments on the bylaws?
There are no public comments submitted for this item.
We put a lot of work into changing the bylaws a year ago or two, if I remember correctly, so they should be up to date and current. Would anybody like to make a motion to keep the bylaws unchanged or amend the bylaws, depending on discussion?
Yeah, I move to accept the bylaws, Rich Martindale.
Thank you, Rich. So we have a motion. I need a second.
Second the motion.
I'll make a
Thank
second.
you.
I have a question about them. Okay.
Let's have the motion and the second, and then we'll bring it to discussion. And then Dave, please open the discussion.
Yeah, I just, at one time, we had something in here that said that subcommittee members had to be members of the AAC. I see that doesn't say that anymore. Was there further discussion on that somewhere I missed? Or I'm glad to see we do allow other members of the public that aren't members of the AAC. That is, I am reading that correctly, right?
And that's in 205.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the things that we pushed for last time, in that if we need to have a subcommittee and we have an expert on something that wants to be on that subcommittee, they don't have to be a member of the AAC to be on the subcommittee.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to provide clarification. It also says that the majority of the subcommittee members must be members of the committee. So I guess that's the checks and balances.
Yes, yes. So the subcommittee is made up of members of the AAC, but it's allowable to have a non-AAC member as an additional member of the committee. A good example might be if Buzz Gibbs retires from the AAC, but he's still such a font of knowledge, we would want him on a subcommittee if he would do that. So, okay, I will ask one more time for discussion because I don't want to cut anybody off. Is there any more discussion or questions regarding the bylaws? Okay, I will call for the vote then. Gary List, yay or nay on approving the bylaws as written?
A yay to approve.
Chuck McGill,
Yay.
Ron Lee,
Yay.
Rich Martindale,
Yay.
Dave Gordon,
Yay.
Tom Reed is yay. That is 6 yay votes for passing of the motion. Okay. Man, we're moving right along today. Staff reports. We will now move into the staff reports. Are there any public comment, Director Rubio, on staff reports yet?
There is no public comment on the staff reports. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, then I'm going to turn it over to Deputy Director Jorge Rubio and their fine staff to tell us what's going on at the airport.
Thank you so much. We will start with the operational staff, but let's start with Mr. Andrew Schwartz. Please go ahead, Andy.
Okay, hello. I just have a couple things today. I want to start with our operations count for the last year. We actually were up 16%. We had 100,400 and some change operations last year. So we were up about 16% from last year. So it's been a very busy year for operations here at Brownfield. So the other items I wanted to mention, we just have some general maintenance going on. We just got done. We had Powerland out here. They completed a mow of all the tumbleweeds that were blowing around out here. So we got that taken care of. We're still working on getting a water sample collected for this year's stormwater water sample. So we need a qualifying event for that. We'll be working on that throughout the rainy season to make sure that happens. We have a gate that has been down for a little bit now. It's gate 1. We have a loop detector that went down, so we've been working on getting a part for that gate to get that up and running. And then just some general maintenance around the airfield. We've been working on some concrete repair around taxiways, taxiway Gulf. We're still working on that because there's still quite a bit of it. Also, RSAT meeting notes. I still haven't received a final draft of that, but I'm working on getting that. Once I get that, we'll get that disseminated. Other than that, that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you very much, Andy.
Thank you. So we will move to Mr. Charlie Broadbent from Montgomery Gibbs Executive.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Jorge. Good afternoon, committee members. A few things. Operations totaled over 23,000 in December of 2020. That was about 13.6% higher than last December's reporting numbers. So a lot of airplanes flying. The construction of the new emergency standby generator was completed early in December. So we're happy to have that online. Kind of on a sad note, one of our employees, Mark Reiner, he's an airport operations assistant for us, or he was. He accepted a position at the County of San Diego airports at Palomar Airport. So as you're flying around, you might see him up there. But we are starting the recruitment process to fill that position. Mark was here probably about 2.5 years or so, and we're going to miss him. He was a great employee and did a lot of good things for the division here, for operations here. Gate 4 is down right now. It's just pending some repairs. The motor and smart board need to be replaced on that, so we're working with our contractor to get those installed and get that gate back operational. The San Diego Fire Rescue helicopter parking pad construction started December 7th, and it's going to be a duration of 120 working days. It's over there adjacent to Taxiway Charlie by the tower. And then Crown Air actually has occupancy of their new FBO building, so it's looking really nice over there. So feel free to stop by and check it out. We took a little tour of it the other day, and it's a very nice facility. So it's a great addition to the airport. But with that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Charlie, I've been getting positive feedback from the people that we've sent over to get their gate card, the gate access card. Everybody appreciates the fine service you've done.
And Charlie, do you have any idea when Gate 4 is going to be fixed?
We are processing the purchase order right now, and South Bay is getting the parts. So hopefully the next couple of weeks, I can give you an update once I have an exact date, though.
Okay, so if no one else has any questions about this, we will move to Enza Charles, our amazing asset manager.
Jorge, I had a couple of questions for Charlie. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Charlie, first one, just can you confirm, I guess 2020 was an all-time high for operations at Montgomery, is that correct?
Yeah, I believe there was about...
the report says 276,000.
276,000, yeah. So that's the highest it's been in the last 10 years of reporting.
I do have one clarification. I think in the 1970s, we actually were over 300,000 operations.
Wow.
So we're getting back there.
The other question I have for you, Charlie, is there any plan somewhere in the future to do something with the pavement on Taxiway Charlie? When I like to get off 28 right at Charlie, and when I taxi between 28 right and 28 left, it feels like my teeth are going to rattle out of my head.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking into including that in one of the upcoming projects, the 28 left rehab project. But definitely, yeah, we're looking into addressing that. If for some reason we can't get AIP funding for that, then we've been talking about, adding it to a project and funding it out of our budget. But yeah, we've been addressing that because it's one of those things where the runways get addressed during projects, and then some of those connecting taxiways, there's not available funding within the project, so they sometimes get left out of the project. So that pavement is very old, it's deteriorating, but it is on our agenda and on our list to get it repaired.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, Charlie. Enza, please.
There. Hi, everyone. We'll start out with the Gibbs leasehold. The project is tentatively scheduled to be submitted to the Housing and Land Use Committee in March this year, 2021. MYF Properties, doing business as Executive Air Park, is the recommended proposal. I know we talked about that last time. Corporate Helicopters, they will be resubmitting the project to City DSD and schedule a follow-up meeting to discuss the environmental concerns there. Moving that along, Crown Air leasehold. The city did exercise the option for Crown Air to lease option area 1 and add 1.4 acres to the leasehold effective November 1st of 2020. We're currently processing the lease amendment on that. With the Montgomery Field Office complex, we are performing maintenance and repairs for engineering and capital projects to move in. The tenant improvement work at the 8525 building should be completed by the end of this month, January 30th. That's for 24,171 square feet of office space in that building for them. We are also getting tenant improvement specifications for bid for an additional 32,957 square feet of office space in building 8775 Gibbs Drive. The memorandum of understanding is being reviewed by our city attorney. The first MOU for 8525 building, the rent is $42,299 per month. That's for the 24,171 square feet of space. The second MOU for building 8775 is going to be for $52,731 per month, and that's for 32,950 square feet of space. The total for both buildings will be $95,030 per month. The FAA lease, we're finalizing that, and that is expected approval in March of 2021.
Oh, I think we lost Enza.
Oh, hey, these are all in something that was in one of the handouts too, correct?
I'm sorry.
I can.
Go ahead, Enza.
Okay. Let's see here. Where was I? Starting on the Metropolitan Air Park development, we're expecting a FONSI the first quarter of 2021. Then that project can move on. The fiber optic installation has been completed at Brown Field. The ARC building at 9575 Arrow Drive, which is the nonprofit public benefit. Informed us that they wanted to sell the building. There, the city has an undivided 51% of land and 0% interest of the building and land improvements. ARC has an undivided 49% interest in the land and 100% undivided interest in the building and land improvements. We're still trying to determine if the general fund has an interest in the building. Lot 8A, we are completely full. We have no vacancies on hangars or tie downs. San Diego Police Department, appraisal for the rent adjustment has been completed, and rent adjusted has been done from $453,279 to $483,200 annually. That is the end of my report.
I have a couple of questions. First, actually for Jorge, did I miss an introduction somewhere? Where does ENZA fit into the organization?
My apologies. I think you actually came after the fact. ENZA is our asset manager. Her working title is actually program manager, which would be the same as David Reed. We may need to do an introduction so that you know new staff that has come to work for us. So ENZA is overseeing the properties divisions. She oversees Thurman and his team, which is Davey and Michelle.
Okay, thanks. I hadn't seen her before, so.
Okay.
A question for you, Enza, on the executive air park. So you said that it's not going to committee until March. So when do you expect the lease to be ready for signing by Crown Air? That sounds like we're way far into the new year.
Right. Because of COVID and the city cutting back on a lot of committee meetings, March is the soonest we'll be able to submit that. We're hoping probably before year end in July or June.
Yeah,
Wow.
Mr. Gordon, if I can add that to what Enza said. Yes, there were a lot of delays, especially with the new city leadership coming on board. But also we're trying to finalize some details between both parties so that it can be a smooth transition. So we're fine-tuning those items, and we're hoping to move through in March.
Okay, Jorge, please, everybody that work for city staff, none of this is personal to you guys. I am extremely disappointed in our city management, starting from the very top. Not a single city employee, as far as I know, is lost any part of their salary since the COVID crisis has happened. Yet they're actively shutting down all kinds of other businesses and people's livelihoods. Yet every time I turn around, both here and other city functions, I hear COVID used as an excuse for not getting things done. And again, it's not personally directed at you guys. It's really the people above you downtown. And as a tenant at Gibbs now, we've been waiting and waiting to get some improvements down here. My airplanes are suffering damage because the ramp is in really bad shape. So I really wish you could move that lease forward as soon as possible.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gordon. Well, I appreciate your sentiment, but rest assured that staff is trying to move forward as soon as we can. Again, there were also some details that were out of our control and our tenants' control that we're trying to work through. And once those get resolved, we'll be able to move forward. Thank you. Okay. Any more questions for Enza?
Yes, Chuck McGill. What's the status on the hotel?
Still in litigation.
That's it, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. One of the things that I can tell you about the hotel, though, that is a matter of public record, is that they are paying their rent now, and we're collecting monthly payments from them. Aside from that, there are some litigation issues that we can't really speak about.
Thank you.
Have they paid their back rent or just the current rent?
That's the matter of the litigation, so I can't really touch on that.
Okay.
Thank you. So I just wanted to let you know that we have David Reed with us. He next month will be providing a report on the projects that are happening at both of our airports. But if you have any questions about any projects, he is available. But this time I'll be going next. So to start, I would like to thank everyone, all of our tenants, all of our lessees, all of our users for working with us during these unprecedented times. For us, we try to expedite things and we try to put ourselves in your shoes when you're coming for us for help, and we try to provide a good service as much as we can. So thank you for your understanding. Hopefully now with the vaccine, we'll get to some sort of normalcy and we can actually see each other and hopefully shake our hands in the near future. So thank you.
Here, here.
However, one of the things that has happened, especially over the last few days, I would say, is something has affected the way that airports and the transportation industry works nationwide. And this has to do primarily with the Secretary of Transportation, Elaine Chao. She resigned effective this actually yesterday. So she is no longer with the administration. Also, somebody I know personally and is a huge advocate. Kirk Schaefer, he was the deputy administrator for airports. He also resigned yesterday, and these I think have to do with events that happened at the nation's capital. But it is unfortunate that it affected our industry in that regard. There's also several changes at the airport's district office. We have the airport district office manager. He is still with them. We have a new staff that we're working with. Some of them are newer to the FAA. They don't have much project experience with FAA. They do have a lot of experience from some other related industries, but not specifically with the FAA. So we're working with them, and we're trying to make sure that our projects get moved along. Mr. Gordon, you mentioned that we need to do something about taxiway Charlie. We actually have a pavement management plan that tells us what kind of pavements would fail sooner than later. And we are putting our priorities based on that document and on data that the previous airport administrator was handling for us. So that's something that we're trying to make sure we do over the next few years, and we're trying to secure as much federal and state funding as possible to make those happen. Now, in regards to COVID-19 also, we continue with our protocols, and due to the state where we are right now, we are not seeing anybody face-to-face within our offices. And if there needs to be a meeting, unless it's basically obligatory or completely necessary, airport staff can meet online or by phone the way that we're doing until we're able to find some sort of normalcy. I also wanted to talk about a few items that I brought up before. On November 10th, I brought up the item that the Navy was proposing a drop zone at Brownfield, well, next to Brownfield Municipal Airport, and that it would potentially affect 35 to 40 days per year at the airport, potentially shutting down traffic going into that airport. And we are concerned as the city, not only because we are supposed to be self-sufficient, but also because potentially pilots that come in and tenants are going to be affected by it. So we are working with the FAA and we're working with the Navy, trying to make sure if that site goes in, that it complies with all safety regulations. The situation that we have is that the land does not really belong to us. The FAA takes care of all the airspace. Now, I'm not going to make this an item today, but this is something that may come up in the future. But if members of the public or tenants at the airport, they have any more questions or would like to provide feedback, I request that they contact us, specifically that they contact Andy Schwartz, the airport manager down there, to provide input, and we will make sure that their voices get heard during the conversations that we're having with the Navy and the FAA. I also wanted to mention that we started the planning for runway 8 right, 26 left at Brownfield. We're looking to rehabilitate it. It is going to take a few years to do the planning and also to construct it. The FAA is looking to reimburse us in 2024. We initially have to put up about $500,000 this year. And we actually have RFP, the consulting design project, and we're looking to award it very soon. So that's something that's in the works at the moment. Also, the other item that I wanted to bring up is a few years ago, I don't know if the previous airport administrator brought this item to the AAC, but CBP, they operate out of 500 square feet at the terminal building, and they have several design standards that the airport is not able to meet, and they have demanded that the city provides them with this aviation facility. Now, it is something that they request from all airports that they go into, and for the most part, everyone that I've talked to, the airport is the one who builds these facilities for them. Previously, the cost to do something like this was about $500,000, actually $3 million. So, but that was for a building that was supposed to be outside on the main ramp. Now, when we met with CBP, we're looking at the interior of the terminal building to make this a little more affordable for us. The one thing that we have going is that we currently don't pay CBP staff for any costs, and their annual tally, if they're operating out of any other airport that is recently obtaining CBP, the annual cost for those is about $500,000. So for the past 30 or 40 years, we haven't covered the salaries for those. So we could potentially make a case, but that's an item that I will be bringing forward so that we can discuss it in more detail. The other item that I wanted to talk about was that at Brownfield, we will be getting delivery of a brand new airfield sweeper. We're hoping that before June, and the notice to proceed and everything else has already been sent out, and the FAA is paying for the full sweeper down there. A portion of it, 90%, is federal funding that they usually fund every year, and the remaining 10% is CARES Act funding that they're using for fiscal year 2020, actually, not 21. For Montgomery Gibbs items, we are also working on grooving runway 10 left to 8 right to improve safety during inclement weather. So we are putting the scope of work together, and we're working with the FAA to get reimbursed for that one too. Now, the last item that I wanted, actually there's two items, but the next item that I wanted to talk about is actually something that brings joy to my eyes as an airport administrator that likes to see development happening at the airports. And that's something that that Charlie brought up before, and that's the two FBOs that are being developed at our airport. And if you don't mind, I will share this screen with you. So that picture is from about 2 weeks ago. That's the Coast Air FBO development. Anybody who has not had an opportunity to come over to the airfield, this is what we work for, and this is why our properties team and our operations team is so important to make sure that aviation continues into the future, and that the old and dilapidated facilities get replaced with something that's a little more operational and can have a lifetime. So that's the Coaster FBO building that we have at the moment. And I also want to show you the other FBO. And that's the Crown Air building FBO that is also at Montgomery Gibbs Executive Airport. They're fantastic pieces of design and architecture. So we're happy to have them here at Gibbs.
Beautiful.
And last but not least, I also wanted to mention that we have a new head of the boards and commissioners. I've met with the director, and he is very open-minded, and he's looking to improve the way that members get assigned to all committees, including the AAC. I have had an introductory meeting with him, and he and we discuss about anybody who's coming up for appointments. There's a few that are coming up in February, and he has those lists. So he is, him and I will be talking about potentially getting recommendations as to who should be selected next for those positions. And I just wanted to make you aware of that. Now, that's the last one that I had. And I know somebody had a question for me, so I'm ready to answer any questions.
Yeah, Jorge.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the question I had regarding the Navy jump zone, normally for activity like that, they have public meetings and requests for comment. I have not seen anything like that. Is there anything that you're aware of, or any way that we can get on a list to make sure that we have an opportunity to make input when it's appropriate to do so?
So at the moment, they are requesting input from the organizations and from the tenants that are at Brownfield. Obviously, the reason why I'm here is because I wanted to have everyone's input that gets related to us so we can talk to them. But as far as the public comment that you're talking about, at the moment, the Navy is looking to obtain Air Force property. It's still federal property for the training that they have, which includes ground training and also parachuting. And they're looking to have their own EA for these special uses in the future.
Is there any way Andy can share any information with us when they do ask for comment as to where to comment to and who to make comments with?
Yes, we will be happy to share that information with
Super.
The users.
Director Rubio, can you see the chat for the other question that Dave Gordon asked?
Yes, let me look at the chat real quick. So I will read the question because not everybody has access to the chat. So Mr. Gordon is asking about the CBP facility. What is the projected cost for CBP for the facility now that it is going to be inside the terminal, and how does that compare to the standalone facility costs? Well, that is a really good question. We are looking to have a meeting with the planners, basically CBP staff, who is in charge of design, and also our public works department members that were involved in the previous design to obtain some numbers. Right now, just for planning purposes, in order to make sure that we move this along and obtain all of the proper approvals, I am using the $3 million figure. It might be less, it might be more. At this point, I'm unable to tell you based on just on the preliminary selection that we've done, but I should have more information probably within the next 2-3 months.
Thanks, Art. Just was, if you don't have the numbers now, whenever we do know, I'm just curious. It sounds like we're doing a good plan to make it cheaper, because I know that original cost, per square foot was something, phenomenal. Glad you guys.
If I could ask about that. So to put it very simply, because I didn't understand it in detail, I understood that the CPB had specifications that were very expensive, and the city was going to have to part with a great deal of money for a very small facility. And then that somehow got changed so that the tenant improvements for the airport were going to include the CPB facility. Was that what happened?
So the way that we're saying is it's not only this. Again, I'm trying to keep it this as short as I can, but just to give you some more information. Basically, also when with the building that was supposed to be outside, there were some environmental concerns that would have impeded on the construction of the CBP facility as quickly as we would have wanted. Also, there was a situation by which CBP was working with another individual for them to build a temporary facility, and negotiations didn't really go through. So it's on the cities now to move forward with it. And as a matter of fact, we as the city, we want to keep CBP a public entity, a public utility, under basically our public control.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jorge.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, moving on to my favorite part of the whole meeting. It's the Air Traffic Control Tower Report, finest TATC in all the land.
Well, thanks for the compliment, Tom. Hey, good afternoon, committee members. Nothing really going on at Montgomery. As you know, staffing is the same. It's probably not going to soon. Update on the whole short marking. We are drafting LOA between us and the city airport operations, and we should be done with the LOA and then hand it over to Charles for his review. Once that gets approved on both ends, then we can move forward and get the whole short markings on runway 23, holding short of runway 28 left. And additionally, we're going to try to put another whole short marking north of runway 28 right on runway 23. Another update, we've been working on a Hilo LOA to standardize helicopter operations on Montgomery going in and out. As of right now, it is in a noise study with the FAA. So that might take time on for them to come back with the year or nay on that. So I will give further update when that materializes. The other one is last month we had an incident on the airfield with the personnel on a bicycle that was running around the airfield. So just like to get an update on what the situation with that is. Other than that, this month's been fairly slow compared to last January. Last January, I think I was looking at the number, we were close to 27,000. As of right now, we're just over 9,000 for the month. So fairly slow, but I think the controllers need a little break here and there sometimes. Other than that, that's all I got. Any questions?
What? Okay, I got to hear about the bicycle. You had a runway incursion with a guy on a bike?
We had a pedestrian deviation with the bicyclist. Somehow he got into the airfield and crossed taxiway hotel onto Foxtrot, crossed runway 5, went to Able Base. Did some looky-loo over there, and then got back on his bike and crossed back on Foxtrot and crossed runway 10 right and 10 left, and was eastbound on runway 10 left, and made a left turn on runway 23, and then hopped the fence at what's that, 93rd or 94th?
No way. A homeless guy, or you know, or
yeah, so it affected our traffic a little, but luckily, no one got hurt. So
thank goodness. Yeah. Well, when you divide the numbers up and you see you guys are doing 750 operations a day, the number of daylight hours, that's like 1 a minute. It's incredible. The symphony you guys conduct up there is amazing.
Thank you. And like I said, the controllers, they're very professional, and they want to do the best job they can. You know, as of right now, they're very tired, but they know it's part of their job, and they're have a big old smile when they come.
Did you guys hit your number so that you got to the next level of staffing and salary?
Second?
Did you, I understood that if you hit a certain number of operations, you would get bumped to the next level of FAA support, salary, et cetera.
We haven't hit that number. But if we do, there is a process for that, and it takes a while.
Okay. We'll do our best.
Thank you.
Any questions for air traffic control and Joel? Thank you, Joel. Always a pleasure to see you. Okay, operations reports. We are in item 9, operations reports. Are there any public comments for this, Director Rubio?
There are no public comments for this item.
Okay, that means we move. Do we have any operation reports that we need to talk about?
Only if you have questions. I just wanted to point out that you have the annual noise report, and we're doing better than last year. So, and we've had more operations this year than the previous year. So I just wanted to point that out.
Good. Okay. Well, if there are no comments on the operation or noise reports, we will move to item 10, which is the committee comments. Was there any public comment submitted for committee comments?
No public comment was submitted for this item.
Okay, so I believe we are at item number 11, which is adjournment. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So move, says Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck. Okay. Our next meeting is the second Tuesday of February, and we'll see you then, 3 o'clock.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate all your support and help. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.